Hello everyone, welcome to Trident Tarot by Devanshu Kashyap. Today I pick up a very critical topic which I think is mostly overlooked by everyone because this is our aspect of life which is kind of, I think, integrated with our psyche so badly that we are not able to distinguish ourselves as separate from it. And the topic for today's pick a card reading is, what are the severities that you have created on yourself in your life and how you can remediate them? So the thing with severities is that we need to discuss here that how the events or the influence of some close relatives, people, or maybe the environment around you, how it has influenced you in a subconscious way, such that you have developed certain personality traits which are not truly yours. So w- this reading will act as a reminder to make you aware of those parts of you, to be able to see themselves like a hawk. I mean, by watching things like a hawk, I mean that you will kind of, you need to have to detach yourself from your own self. I don't know how to put it. You need to detach your self in a way that you perceive yourself as a spectator, like you are observing your emotions without being attached to them. And that can be very tricky because you might feel, you know, integrated with them, that this is how it is. But this is what we are talking of, the severities that you have in your life and how you need to detach them. So this is a very delicate and very sensitive topic which is intended to make you aware about a part of yourself which has clutched you from a long time, and you need to be aware of it, and you need to release and detach yourself from these severities. So for this reading, I'm using the Morgan Gray Tarot deck, which I thought was the gentlest, because Rider Waite images were when I was using that deck, so the imagery was kind of very overwhelming and scary for this particular sensitive reading. So Morgan Gray deck is something which is very cute, and which has a very gentle imagery, which might not make you overwhelmed when you listen to the reading. So it will it will give you the message that you are meant to hear, at the same time not overwhelming you. And you might have to be like, I mean, you might have to listen to this reading over and over, and you might have to like contemplate about what is being spoken, so that you kind of happen to come into terms with what is being discussed. Out of the three piles shown here, please select the one that you are most drawn to. You may choose one, two, or maybe all of them. Go as your intuition says. And it was a hard time, shuffling the piles, because I think this is the part of ourselves. I think we are not comfortable admitting that it is something separate from us, or this is the shadow side of ourselves which we do not wish to admit. And maybe or face it, or maybe take steps to correct it. So it was a very very hard time doing the shuffling process, and it seemed like forever, like the shuffling is never going to stop. But eventually it happened. And I mean, if you are watching this reading, it means that you are prepared to let go of these parts of yourself, and you are paving way for a very 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 major breakthrough in your life. So let's begin with the reading. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. Your cards clearly indicate disappointment in the areas of intimacy. Possibly this disappointment has comes from not getting reciprocity for the love that you have shown to the other person, for things being one-sided, for being kind of deceived in relationships where there was some kind of unfairness, or not getting, I think, validation or approval for your action when you required support. There is a very clever, deceptive, and diplomatic energy which kind of exists in your block areas, which has kind of, piled over and over so much that you have kind of become numb to certain things. I mean, you have become very unaware about it, or it has integrated so deeply in your psyche that I think you kind of feel that it is an integral part of you. It has integrated so. what you say, so deeply, I can say, or like, so its clutches are so powerful that I mean, you're not able to differentiate that what is actually you and what is actually something different, which is not of love and light, which is not a very divine thing. You're not able to segregate these two parts of you. There is a very, very clear indication of betrayal of trust. I can give it to you by an example that suppose there is some person whom you confide in very intimately. That person said that, I am someone who can sacrifice everything for my family. I'm not going to leave anyone. Like if some trouble falls on them, that trouble must fall on me and then on my family. But when you saw that some opportunity or something was presented to that person, then suddenly that person changed their attitudes. Then they said that they are troubled by their family. They don't like their family members. Their family members are sarcastic. They are not giving them, like, the required respect that they deserve. So upon receiving the things they needed versus the way they showed you that how they are in order to gain your trust, or maybe to take some advantage from you. So, like when you see these change of attitudes happening in people, so they kind of affect you. You kind of, I think you might have the tendency of saying bad to yourself that why, like, why did you even trust and manifest this kind of a person in your life? Or maybe you've found a lot of struggle, or what you say, a lot of difficulty explaining this anguish to the person that how dare you. But what kind of a person you are, that why you keep on swiveling different personalities in greed. When something is coming to you, you say something else, and when something is not with you, when you are bereft, when you are in deficiency, then you kind of show that you are a martyr. Then you show that you are a very very enlightened person, a very responsible person who stands as a crusader for their entire family. So possibly due to your sensitive nature or very fun loving nature, or um, or having a personality where you try to be too much comfortable with someone, so that you can open up and have light hearted conversations. So I think interaction with such kind of people, which are definitely toxic, who under whose influence you go through a roller coaster of things within your mind and emotional bodies. And also when like you end up trusting people who are actually speaking bad about you behind your back, but then like instead of saying them some things directly, or finding difficulty in saying them about their behavior, or not being able to address your grievances, not being able to express these things properly to these people, they kind of, these emotions kind of loath inside you. They pile up inside you, and they kind of affect your emotional bodies, your spiritual bodies, or your chakras. And at the present, you have reached such a point, where it has become so much grimy. It has become so much, it has accumulated that you are not able to differentiate yourself from this thing. You're not able to understand that the thing which is not making you feel light is actually these experiences which have loathed upon you. You're kind of unaware about it. So this reading is to bring to you bring these things to your attention, that this is what it is. These this loathed emotional body which you're feeling right now is not you. It is something that has been accumulated over time, and now is the time to retreat from the daily hustle and go into a state of rest. So in that state of rest, I think you will these things will start. You need to firstly, you need to spend time in loosening up. You need to let that toxic accumulation which we just spoke of, you are required to let it kind of set afloat from you. You don't have to take any action initially. You just have to kind of be indifferent to it and observe it getting afloat. Observe it, observe these things till the point of realization that these things are not a part of you. They're actually loathing and accumulation. And then afterwards, you need to pick, like one of them or maybe two of them at a time, and practice the release procedure on them. When I say release procedure, I mean to say that you have to clear them off. You need to detach from them. And also you need to affirm that you will not manifest these situations in life. And also in that release process, you will kind of ask for inner programming, that you do not get attracted to those people, or of those people in your life, or that part in you dies and renews into something such that it is not capable of attracting these events and circumstances which have been um, affecting you since so long. I mean, till your journey of life so far. So, the nature of this healing is both inward and outward. The more you release these things from your inside and affirm for a good rebirth, the more you'll see these circumstances happening outside. So it's not like, you don't need to do any outside clearing. You need to clear outside. I mean, you need to detach from such people. You need to kind of let them go. You need to unfriend them, never speak with them, do closures with these people. And then you do inner reflection such that, the impressions that they have left, you need to let them go through any healing modality that suits you. And you need to affirm in that healing process that you are not going to manifest these circumstances externally later, and accordingly you will request the divine or your healing um, deity who, or the healing master, who whatever healing modality you follow, you will request them to heal you inner in such a way so that you do not magnetize, you do not attract such people, events and circumstances ever in your life. Because this particular point of time, if this reading is coming to you, it is an opportunity for you to raise your strata. You were in a certain living with a certain strata of people right now. You were at a certain social level, you can say, but now is the time to upgrade yourself. But that upgradation requires from you to clear out the junk that has been projected on you by the strata, and then affirm for a better and more elevated life. When I say elevated, I mean it is elevated in quality and vibrational level, which is suited to your healthy well-being both inside and outside. And this exercise, this awareness and these realizations are uh, going to, like, they will reach you, they will take you to higher levels of abundance. Abundance can be in any context where you felt bereft. The most dominant indicator in this reading is abundance in love and relationships. You'll get abundance of love and relationships with the people who are in alignment with you. But now, urgently, it is the time to rest and retreat and observe these things detaching and floating away. And then your next step is clearing. So, this entire activity will take a minimum of, I think, 4 months and a maximum of 6 months. So maybe a 4 to 6 months gap or clearing is required. The more you detach yourself from the external environment, the more you keep yourself aloof in like you, the more solitarily you stay, the more alone you stay, the more time you have for yourself, the more efficient it will be. So I'm wishing you all the best for identifying, for being able to identify these parts of you and for clearing it off. Thank you very much for listening, and please do subscribe to my channel, like my content, and do follow me on Instagram as well. Bye. Thank you. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. The most prominent factor that needs your attention right now with regards to your severities here is spirituality. The point about spirituality, if I say very precisely, is the spiritual practices or beliefs about spirituality that you're following are not based on love. Clearly, they are not based on love, but they are based upon the perception of what is written in the scriptures, which are not written through proper references, or it is through a guru or a spiritual master who doesn't have that perception about a particular spiritual concept that he's trying to provide to you, or it is not in alignment with your frequency. It can be any of these things. So what I'm trying to say here is, rather than, you living on your frequency, on your blueprint of spirituality, you are replicating or copying the spirituality blueprint of some other person, which is being projected on you by some religious priest or master, or possibly you can say a guru. Now, see, spiritual energies can mean different to different people. So here, if I take the example of any religion's gods who are responsible for death, so a certain group of people or a certain master might present that god as someone who brings about transformations in your life. He will introduce it to you in a way that he lets go all the things which are not good for you, but he also lays seeds and grounding for something fertile and in alignment with you. Whereas in some other schools of thoughts might present you the god of death in a fearful way, in a punishment way, that if you don't do this, this particular god is going to punish you. If you feel this sensation coming while thinking about that god, it means that he's punishing you, you have done something wrong. So he will take you through a fear based path. So when in your spiritual processes, for example, you feel unpleasant sensations, so one school of gurus or master will tell you that these unpleasant sensations are the karmas or the layers inside you that are coming up to be released or healed. Whereas the other school of teachers might tell you that you are not complying with the rules and regulation of a particular the religion instructions or the way you are supposed to do things. That is why these sensations are giving you indication that you are being punished. So this example is very, I think it's a very plain example. It's a very contrasting example. But you need to find certain things in your life. Like, what is it that you have been told by any person, ABC, such that it is affecting your perception, and you kind of internally know that this is not how you want to perceive spirituality, this is not how you want to perceive god, but due to the influence of that particular author or person, you are perceiving it in a different way. You're struggling to fit yourself according to the person who has told you these things. So this is one aspect of your life which has become integrated with you, and you are not aware of it by now because it has been happening to you since a lot of years. So now is the time. If this reading comes to you, so this is the time, when you'll come to realize that um, this perception that you're struggling to fit in is actually not you, but it is something different from you. You'll start feeling a distance from it, and that is the journey when you will start feeling detachment from it, and you will kind of realize or gain clarity about that you have to release from it. The very simplest way has come for you, which is through communication. You need to start positive internal self communication. You need to start a firm uh, you need to in the detachment process, when you will feel that this is how you want to see spirituality, this is how you want to see god, which feels aligned to your heart, it gives you lightness. You'll need to start deriving some affirmations, you can say, or you need to do some write-ups or something to do some positive internal communication. Because slowly and gradually, when you'll do these practices, you'll uh, observe this this corruption and this influence that you have on you kind of floating away from you. And also, since we are talking about creating positive communication, you might also like to write about what you don't like about it, or what you would like to release about the prior beliefs that you were you were having about the spirituality observation situation that you were in. There is actually a very tricky tendency to be like, to get into this cycle again. So this experience, whatever you have, there is another instruction coming for you. You need to journal about how you kind of entered into this situation. You might need to revisit your past, and you need to observe certain moments, that what led you on this path, what led you to trust someone who wasn't trustworthy. So this time you need to make a change, that you don't get into it. See, you are basically it is like, you are on your own sufficient enough to follow the path of spirituality, and the law of attraction will bring things which are relevant for you at the present moment of time. But still, if for some reason you feel you need support from some other person, you need to keep a journal of all the mistakes that you have done in past by choosing someone who was not the right kind of person who showed you the way. You need to critically, you need to find someone who is in alignment with your frequency, who and who is in alignment with your heart, who's in alignment with your perception, who can take you towards the spiritual journey that you yearn for. One more thing I want to tell you here is that you need not clear up the space in order to invite the divine to you. The divine himself is powerful to appear in front of you, clear the space himself, and make it strong. The divine You do not have to do efforts to bring the divine to you. The divine is himself sufficient to come to you and do the requisite clearing for you. You do not have to believe in creating vibes. I mean, God does not need you to save him. God does not need you to take some difficult steps for him to come to you. Because if he has to come to you, he will make you do things to bring him closer. It's a very mutual process. You don't have to kind of beat against the bush, run against the wind, and do things to invite God. You will yourself get inspiration to do it, and it will be a mutual thing. I mean, the action steps you need to take, you will not do those action, but those actions will be done through you by the God. I mean, that is how the thing is. The God never asks you for devotion, but he does something to you that you end up doing devotion. And then, that mutual manifestation occurs. So this is one very important thing about, spirituality. Also, this thought just came to me. This is one of the things also that you need to keep in mind, and you need to follow on these principles. Whenever you find yourself struggling to make things happen, or pushing yourself to make things happen, just understand this is not how the things have to go, because you don't have to do things to get something. Things will be done through you to make something happen. So therefore, slowly and gradually, when you incorporate this attitude towards life, so this severe layer or the stubborn layer of perception that you have been living with will drift away from you, and you will victoriously emerge from this situation. And I think you would have learned your lesson about making choices, making decisions, that what is right for you and what is not right for you. If you're hearing this reading, I think this was the right time for you, that you were meant to hear this reading, because uh, this is a purely divine timing based reading, and even the keywords and the titles that have been used for the reading, I don't think that any person who is not on this journey is going to Google about it and get the reading. So if it appears on your impressions or on your recommendations, or you end up searching through this was actually the message for you, because this is the synchronicity. It's a very synchronicity driven reading. It has no agenda, to be shown to many people. This reading will be some reading that is going to come to you. So thank you very much for listening. Please do like and subscribe to my channel, and also follow me on Instagram. Wishing you a very happy emergence. Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. The core and the loudest essence of your cards is, I would like to caption it as being misled. Being misled because of your innocence, being misled because of trusting where you thought it is obvious to trust, because you didn't understand the transition of environment, the previous versus the new one. As a result of being misled, it led to a change in your belief systems, or maybe a change in your perception about life, which is not actually the way life is supposed to be. But you were like a sponge when you were being misled, and you absorbed it. So this affliction, or this influence that you have gone through, which is very severely impacting you, but in comparison to the other two piles, I think it is penetrated to very deeper layers, because you are also a very sensitive person here. You might have a very your moon presence might be as such that it makes you very sensitive. It makes you like a sponge. You are possibly a clairsentient person who, I think, picks up the projection of other people, of the other energies, and you assume them to be true. And even if those people are not misleading you, you might feel misled by just observing them or being around them. That is the nature of sensitivity of your aura. And if at this point you are reaching at this reading, I think this is the time for you to realize these things and detach from all this phenomena that has been happening with you. So I will speak about certain things which you need to bring to your awareness, and try to kind of feel mm, kind of make yourself detached from what all this is happening to you, which I just told you. Your cards also show me that you are very talented. um, the place wherever you are, I think you deserve to be kind of 10 steps ahead. You need to deserve to be much, much, much ahead than the environment that you are in. Whether it is friends, right? You need better quality friends. If it is love, you need a very better quality love partner. If it is career, you need higher positions and something very much that is suitable for you. You are being misled to believe that the things which you can achieve, I think, within a month, you are being misled to believe that they come after a lot of delays, that you get to that position after years. But that is not the case with you. You need to open your eyes in this area as well. One other thing I'm shown is that you know how to do things in the best way possible, in the most effective way possible, without doing any cussing or taking some irrelevant steps and actions, where you are being like, see, it says that there are some process flaws wherever you are. I mean, the working methods which are being followed around you, or the way the things are approached, it's not career based, but it's in other areas of life too. The ways of doing things, the process of doing certain things, I think it is obsolete. They're following some very old techniques which are not very efficient. You know what the efficiency is, but for some reason, I don't know, you have made yourself believe that the the your perspective of efficiency, or the attitude of doing things efficiently, you're purposely shut it down, and you are um, trying to do things in the inefficient ways because um, you have been misled to believe that. And no one think this is due to, like, competitive jealousy maybe, or not letting your talents, or not letting your abilities to be flourished. That is a kind of conspiracy, you can say, being done against you, so that you don't rise above. But you have a very sharp shooting potential. Bear this thing in mind. So the very first step to emerge out of the situation is to first realize it inside you, take your time, and observe it as being separate and afloat from you. So after, when you have done that, you take your time in that. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight or within a couple of days. It might take you some time, because it will require a lot of digging deep and deep inside you, because in your particular case it's something very deep because of your sensitivities. So once you are done with identification of these things as separate from you, your step is to kind of communicate against what is being told to you. This pattern of misleading that is happening to you. You need to, you either you need to shut that person down by not listening to them, or if something is told to you, the best action step for you would be to write it and contemplate on it, that how can you do it in a way which suits to you. So it's a little bit of a battling mode that is happening, but by writing and introspecting on these things, you will not feel the phenomena of battle anymore. So listen to what you are being told, and listen to your inner psyche also, that is it something that sounds appropriate to me or not. Trust your inner sensations. If something triggers you or you don't like it, just write it down and contemplate on it. Is this the right way to do thing? Is this the right information that is being projected to me? Just try to rationalize it, look at it logically, trust your intuition in the process, and then write it down in a way which you think it is efficient. For example, you are being told that this is the task you have to do, and you have to do it this way, and this is the only way to do it. Then you say no. Let me look, I like if I can do this task in another way, why I have to do it in this complicated way? That is it how can I make it simpler? And once you have found the simpler way, so you say, like, what is the problem in doing this thing in a very simple way? I mean, why does it have to be done like that? So, like, in this way, start devising things. So, this process is kind of, will make you detach from this karmic pattern that you're following about being misled. And when you have found the simplest solution, like, present that solution to the end customer. I mean, don't tell it to someone who is trying to mislead you, but try to tell it to some other peers, maybe, who are your well wishers, or some authority figures, or someone else. Or, I mean, or either do it for your own practical and validate the results, that you are getting the results which were expected, and the requirements that had been presented to you, right? Because I mean, the place where you are, it's not about, following instructions, but it is also about doing things your own way, your own innovative way, and bringing them to table. So once you have this proof, you can present it as a proof in group meetings. You can say that this is the easy way to do it, and I think you should move forward with it, because the way which was told to me by the misleader had so and so flaws, and the way that I have done it is efficient in this way. So I mean, this is how this pattern is going to break. You need to kind of um, make a note of what is being told to you, critically evaluate it, and try to do it from your own point of view, and then counter present it to that concerned person, or to some other set of people in meetings, you can say, and then enforce your perspective there. And continuously following this pattern over and over, that is what is eventually going to detach you from this this obstinacy in misleading beliefs that you have been carrying so far. And I got certain sensations of nausea, and some unpleasant sensations in body. So this this activity doing over and over can get a bit overwhelming. Your body might, you might have these nausea, you might feel nausea sometimes, or you might get sick sometimes for some reason, but your symptoms won't match the sickness you are actually feeling. So that would be, consider that as a clearing process, because it's something which has been very deeply ingrained inside us. This is how the the body kind of throws it out. So don't get nervous by these things that you feel in your journey. They will be of a very temporary standstill. Don't get overwhelmed or too much scared by them. If you need medical advice, definitely you can take it, but it's not going to do you any harm, because it is eventually a clearing that is happening. Also, it is very very possible for you to do it without getting into the battle mode, because uh, what I'm telling you to overcome this thing is, like, I'm telling you to document things, to, like, see how the things are given to you versus how you want them to be, uh, along with the presentation of proof of concept for doing the things your way, in your simplest way, and presenting it to the concerned people, presenting it to the authorities, doing escalations. Like, if you don't like the attitude of someone being treated you in some way, you have to start escalating it, and you need to register your grievances that I do things in certain way, and, like, it is simpler, it is more efficient, it doesn't have any flaws regarding the methodologies that you're following, and therefore your perspective must be taken forward. And it will happen. I mean, you will be heard when you are in team meetings, or you are speaking to your manager or seniors. There will be definitely someone or the other who will support your original point of view, and eventually, continuing things this way, um, you will be renewed, because the outcome for your healing is the high priestess. So the high priestess card is actually, the person who is very knowledgeable, and they trust in their inner knowledge, the knowledge they have, and they're able to present it very effectively and efficiently. It's a, I mean, the wisdom that high priestess has is not a bookish wisdom. It's something inherent as well. I mean, the high priestess's body, its sensations, organs, and everything that it has, it is also, kind of assists the high priestess in making decisions. That is something, which has been suppressed right now so far because of you being misled. But I mean, since you are watching this reading, and the title of this reading is also very unusual, and, like, it will really be universe's sign or a coincidence that this reading in some way happens to come to you, or you end up writing this particular title to search for this video and get your answers, because that is universe's way of showing you that, this is, now is the time to start your transformation journey, your recovery journey. So you are at the very right point of bring about a change in you for your transformation. So wishing you all the best for your recovery, for your your the interim phase, a very temporary interim phase which you need to go through to become a more upgraded and better version, and to be on a higher strata which provides you a lot of abundance and compatible vibrations which are in alignment with your frequency. And this is applicable also for, the spiritual perceptions that you were having, the your the beliefs you had about, you're being told something by some particular religious group or cult which you have been following all this time, but suddenly you'll realize that these things don't resonate with you. You need to follow your own unique spiritual path, uh, which is in alignment with your inner awareness, your inner sensitivities, or someone, a group of people where you feel in alignment with your values, or you feel that this is where you belong. You will be following and taking things forward with them on your spiritual journey also. So thank you very much for listening to this reading, and wishing you all the best.